like, I gotta take
I
a
did.
shit.
I told him I had to take a
Walked
shit.
out.
Man, I just walked out.
Gosh,
It was at a very specific moment.
what are you all doing there?
Welcome to Films in Black and White, everybody. Welcome to Films in Black and White, everybody. Are you all feeling? We are thrilled to be back with you on another Manic Monday. But we're here and happy to be with y'all. I don't know that's the thing, people.
Yeah. What?
To be with you all. In case you haven't seen the video, that's the intro to our live stream. I think one of the best parts of that video is the evolution of Brian's facial hair over the course of a pandemic. Because he goes from like, I'm just trying to get by to, well, stuff is opening back up and again. I better clean this
Better shave this off.
He was the epitome of Cap with the beard. I remember when Brian took us on that
100%.
journey. He was definitely Cap with the beard.
That late, like mid-November to like mid-December, it was just like, I'm not here to ask for forgiveness. I'm not here to ask for permission. Let's just get this done.
That was how Doug and I were. I was looking back at some of the old videos that we did, and Doug and I beard. I look absolutely disgusting.
What?
Like
no,
as a big black man, once I get hairy, I start looking like a bear. So it's like I was just out here live streaming, podcasting. Like I was just the finest thing walking.
That's
Hey,
all right.
that's not bad.
No, it's not a bad thing.
No.
Such encouraging people here. You know what I mean? Like, gotta love the safe space.
We're all just trying to get through it. So
be
that's
honest.
just kind of where we're at.
Like hair was like at the bottom of my list of things because I also knew I looked like a hobo some days. Like if I didn't comb my hair, it was like, sir, are you in the correct video chat? Are you lost?
Yeah.
Ma'am, did this guy sneak into your house or does he live here?
Who's the guy eating the Chipotle wings over there? Huh?
Hey, you leave that alone.
Gentlemen,
out of this.
I would normally introduce both of you. I want to try something new this week.
Oh.
How are you all feeling? Marcus, Brian, how are you all feeling this week?
Shoulder
shrugging that shit away. All right, that's fine.
Listen, Doug Wagner has what I want to say, the privilege of not being here in higher education when school starts.
It's a pretty sweet gig.
And so this is the week that literally everybody moves back this weekend. And it's like a barrel of shit is on fire rolling down the hill.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Just emotionally, not like everything's bad. It just feels like everything is just like we got to go get it. We got to go get it. We got to go get it. So
what project is it? Can we finish it this week?
Yeah.
Because if we can't finish it this week, it's not going to happen.
You said you need how many? You need 200 what? By when? Like right now? Oh, okay, fine. It's a president's initiative. Okay, well, fuck.
I guess we got to do it then.
Fuck.
But yeah, that's basically how it is.
If you're in education, just in any education, let me just say that
sure.
this time of year is just, it's like, well, I'll see you in September. There was another job I worked before this one in which we did 2 weeks of professional training. And if you're not in education, that means it was 2 weeks of us getting trained on the jobs we already did. And then we had 2 weeks of training in the students.
There was a very important segment in there.
Go ahead.
Strengths Quest that they probably made you do.
Well, here's the thing. I actually love Strengths Quest.
I also love Strengths Quest.
Certified trainer. So
are you, Brian?
I am. Yes, I am Gallup certified.
That's a
a
different podcast for you and I.
Oh, it is. It is. But yeah, and then it was 2 weeks of RA training, and then it was like, all right, it's moving, and you're like, I'm exhausted. So like, it's better than that. It's just still a lot because I think Marcus said it best. Like everybody and their mother wants to do something. Like even primary school, my best friend Brian, he has students coming Wednesday, and he's already tired and he hasn't even had students yet. So
Yeah,
it's time right now for those in education.
And from talking to everybody across the country, it is not uncommon either, because I've talked about to schools in just about every time zone for the past week, and everybody is tired and needing a little bit of a break. So So shout out to y'all. If you work in education, shout out to y'all for keeping this shit rolling, because somebody's got to do it.
Well, how are you feeling, Doug?
Doug, tell us about you.
I'm feeling pretty good. My son told me shortly before this podcast that I'm mean to kids, not to him specifically, but that I'm just mean to children. So I'm still processing that. I don't know what I need to do with it, and I don't know how we got there. But he literally looked at me and with a smirk on his face, he goes, "Oh yeah, well you're mean to kids," and I was like, "What the fuck?" What the fuck?
Yeah.
Wow. How do you even reply? I don't even know how you reply to that.
I did the parent switch on him. I said, "I'm only mean to kids who don't listen," and I looked at him.
Oh.
There's certain things I feel like if he says to a cop, you're going to jail immediately, and that's one of them.
Dad's mean to kids.
My dad's mean to kids. What do you mean by that? He bullies kids.
Or that one time where I felt like I was going to get arrested in a public pool. Holy
that
shit, was the worst day ever.
That is the funniest story ever. And now you have
real
to
quick,
tell
I'll
it.
tell this story so everybody can enjoy the story, because this is quite the story.
That was hilarious.
So, I took my son to swimming lessons when he was 2-ish, 2.5. Took him to swim lessons. He did not want to get dressed for his swimming lesson. So again, everybody imagine a public pool.
I know exactly where this is going.
Imagine a public pool. Imagine a public pool. You're in the bathroom. What is the bathroom? Really echoey because it's made of concrete. There's no sound or insulation.
It's a jail cell in there.
It's basically a jail cell where people shower.
Well, they also shower in jail.
Doug, what did you say?
Anyway, so I said to Harrison, it's not what I said, Brian. It's what my son said.
Oh, no.
And so I start taking his clothes off to get him dressed. And Harrison goes immediately at the top of his lungs, because my son wants for nothing. He goes, "No, no, 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 no. Daddy, don't do this. Daddy, don't do this. Daddy, don't do this. Daddy, don't do this. No, 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 no." And I was like, and then I'm sitting here I can't put my hand over his mouth in case somebody does come in, because that's not sketchy.
Because a muffled "No, Daddy, don't do this" is a lot worse than a clear one.
Don't do this, Daddy, don't. And I literally was like, what the fuck? I literally said to myself quietly, I was like, I'm going to jail. I'm going to jail today.
This is it. This is how it happened.
They don't think it's my kid, and I'm gonna have some explaining to do.
Hilarious.
Then,
how do you explain that to your lawyer?
Through this, they sent an employee into the bathroom to do a walkthrough, and I was like, it's fine. He's mine. This is just who he is.
All of us who worked in housing and higher ed, we all know what a random walkthrough is.
Yeah. Somebody called. He strolled through. That was something sounds suspicious. Go walk by. That's exactly what that shit
How many rounds of rock, paper, scissors do you think they did to determine who went in that bathroom?
I think that was
that was a full discussion.
Which one of us you need to get in there right now?
Brian has it. That was you got to get in there now.
Right now.
You can't wait. Gentlemen, we have a podcast to get to. Dad's stories are fun.
Is that why we're here?
A whole podcast to get to?
Yeah, we're going to talk about a movie.
Yeah, we are. But first, we got to play Catch That Quotable, which is our weekly movie quote quiz. And in case you need an update on the standings, here you go. Brian, you are still in the lead with 11.
Hey, look at
Marcus is trailing just by 1, and I am in the room but dressed inappropriately with 8. So that is just who we are. That's the analogy I'm going through.
I like that.
I'm just sticking with it. It's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
So Brian, you are in charge of the scoreboard. So Brian, what would you like to do?
Marcus, why don't you kick us off tonight?
Oh, nice.
Here we go.
All right, gentlemen. I went deep into my bag for this one.
Oh. He's gonna be
Arthur.
Get it right away.
I wish you would do something about all these monkeys. I feel like Jane Goodall. Madam, I knew Jane Goodall, and you are no Jane Goodall. Once again, Arthur, I wish you would do something about all these monkeys. I feel like Jane Goodall. And madam, I knew Jane Goodall, and you are no Jane Goodall.
Marcus, is this George of the Jungle?
It is George of the Jungle. First of all, did I use this before? I can't even remember.
No, you did.
It's
But you did
definitely
tell
George
it.
of the
You
Jungle.
did tell us that you were watching it,
I
so I
did,
was
I
like,
did.
monkeys and weird quippy one-liner that sounds like it was made by a digital like a man in a monkey suit. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Wow,
George of
you
the
got it
Jungle.
in one, man.
Yeah, he did get it in one. Finally, he's God damn it.
Wow.
Yeah,
I
there
should
you
have
go.
did something. I thought I was in my bag. I was not in my
Like,
bag.
I was like, is this time travel? Like, I was so
At least I had one person stumped. I'm so upset.
You got me.
I
Yes,
figured
this
you
is
would be.
George
I'm
of
kind
the
of like,
Jungle.
I wish that's why I waited for you to read it a second time. But
Fuck.
there you go.
Fuck.
All right, Marcus. Who's is going next? Me
Oh,
and
man, go
Brian.
ahead, Doug. Goddamn.
Go ahead, Doug. Go ahead, get down.
Right. All right, here we go. All right. I ran away with my life. I think that means something. That means something to me. Jesus Christ. I ran away with my life. I think that means something. That means something to me.
Is this one person saying it?
It is. That
Okay.
is just a quote from one person.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Oh.
And they are describing to this person how much it means. Like, if I didn't do anything else, I took my life back, and that means something to me.
That's right.
Okay. What is is it sci-fi? Sounds like a rom-com. Brian, you got anything?
I don't know. John Cusack's coming to me, but that doesn't help anything.
Okay.
Like,
okay.
I ran away with my life. Like,
The accent makes it so much better. I ran away with my life.
I ran away. Like, I don't know. I'm also trying to think. I'm like, is he trying to Nick Cage us again? Like,
He could. He did mention
like,
Nick Cage
I don't
today.
know.
It could be.
There is.
What's the hint?
The
Yeah.
hint is Starfighter. I knew I could fucking Brian with that one.
Excuse me, sir.
Starfighter.
All right. Look, I'm gonna. Is this the last Starfighter?
This is not the last
Oh, son
Starfighter.
of
There you
God.
go, Brian.
Shit. Okay, it's not Star Wars. They would never say something this complex in the dialogue of Star Wars.
As a Star Wars fan, can confirm this is
I mean-
this is way too deep.
It's I took my life back, and that was something I want. What I'm thinking is, God, what was that? There's two movies that come to mind, and I can't remember. There's three: Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Then there is God, what is the other one? It's a funny Star Troopers.
Okay.
I'm also thinking Star Troopers, and then the third one I'm thinking, which all three of these are probably wrong. I took my. Can you read the line again?
I will read it one last
With
time.
conviction.
With conviction.
Yes.
Okay. I ran away with my life. I think that means something. That means something to me.
I don't know. Prometheus.
That is incorrect. Gentlemen, this is Solo, a Star Wars story.
Holy
Oh
bucket!
my god! Oh my god!
That is the movie I've
And
seen
the
the least
fact-
amount of times of the
And
Star
the
Wars
fact that
movies.
the both of you are like, this isn't a Star Wars movie. This is too deep for a
Ron
Star Wars
Howard, we're so
movie.
sorry.
Technically, it's like a C canon Star Wars movie.
I mean, it's a Star Wars story.
yeah, it's not. It's not like in the main line of things.
Look
Doug.
at people at back and, like,
I mean,
make
where
sure you don't
Rogue
trip
One
as you
is like
walk
the
this
high
back.
achieving oldest child, Solo is like the middle child who's just like, "What are you doing?" And he's just like, "I don't know, I collect baseball cards."
What?
Like Rogue One is like summa cum laude. They're gonna get a high profile job at the lawyer firm, and then it's like, Solo, what have you been up to? And they're like, well,
I'm a plumber.
you know, I
That's
am
what we get
apprenticing
plumbers.
plumbing, but I like collecting rocks at only one beach. You know, it's just
God.
like, oh, good for
Yo,
you.
what is wrong? What is wrong? What is? I like I like Solo.
The second act of Solo is incredible. The rest of it, I have a tough time
absolutely,
with.
I absolutely do agree. I do think that the second half of that movie, well, I like Solo. I thought it was a fun movie. Whatever.
All right.
All right,
Well,
Brian,
let's
take us home.
Let's see here. We got The quote is, "You are an incredibly impressive young woman. There's not a single person on earth I'd rather kill people with."
Oh fuck.
You are an incredibly impressive young woman. There's not a single person on earth I'd rather kill people with.
That's interesting.
Okay, that is really interesting.
That's a really interesting line, and I feel like I know it.
Maybe you do.
Brian,
Hello.
this give me a time period for this movie.
I mean, that could be your hint.
Are we thinking
That's fine. I'll take it. as a
no,
hint.
I want whatever hint Brian's got. But I
Okay.
want to know, is this an oldie or a newie? That's all you gotta say.
Oldie? Is that what
I
we're
mean,
calling them now?
like new, I guess, like
Before
don't know.
like 2000s and forward is a newie.
the past 20 years.
Yes.
You heard it here first here, people. Go see
Yeah,
your
it's a
latest Dewey now in theaters.
Well, if they can call us millennials and Gen Xers, I can say fucking newie.
You can say fucking Dewey. I just think it's funny.
okay. It takes place after 2000.
Okay, cool. Thank
Okay.
you. That's okay. All right, this is what I'm. Can you read the line again? Because I forgot it.
Sure. You are an incredibly impressive young woman. There's not a single person on earth I'd rather kill people with.
Okay, incredible young woman. I'd rather kill people with. Okay, this is either a woman talking to another young woman. Okay,
Okay.
or it's a man talking to a young apprentice. But I do think that this is an older woman talking to a younger woman who's good at what she does. Okay,
Okay.
that's where I'm at. Doug?
Yeah, that's kind of the vibe I've got. Are we getting another hint, or was that it?
I mean, my planned hint for you all was well now I gave you the time period on top of
That's
it.
fine. That's fine. I just want to know what's the
It's
standard
whatever
here?
makes it fair. Don't give us the hint. If you don't feel like that's fair, then
No,
don't.
that's all
do it.
right. That's all right.
It's a movie.
Your hint is gonna be this movie is sweet.
It's sweet.
Sweet. Sweet Caroline.
Here's my guess. I'm not entirely sure what it is. I'm going to go with. Is this a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Brian?
It is not.
I wasn't sure.
Okay, here's what I'm thinking. This is a newie. Okay,
It's a new newie.
I think it's a new newie.
It's a
And what is that
newie.
movie about? The young lady who goes on killing. Is it something about butterscotch, or it's like soda time? It's like, you know which movie I'm talking about? Lemon Drop. Do you know which movie I'm talking about, Brian? I think it's on Netflix, and I think she's. I think it's
Between Nui and like butterscotch Netflix, I'm just like, I don't know. That might be a movie.
it's something about I thought it was had something to do in there. I don't know. Listen, wait. Okay, wait.
There's so many words
It's
in
a-
orbit right now.
I do think it's a movie about
It is.
what's the it's about it's something sweet. The title has something sweet in it, and she's a killer. Is that right? The title's got something sweet in it, and she's a killer.
Oh,
Is that correct?
I gave you everything.
But I can't remember the name, Brian. If you say the name, and this is Scout's honor, and I think that that's the right movie that I thought it was. Can I get the point?
I mean, that's up to Doug. I don't know.
If you don't know the movie, you don't get the point.
It's a newer movie, and it's
You gotta guess, man.
it's
Dewey
something
with butterscotch on
It's a
top.
new movie, and it's like something cream soda or some shit like that. It's something sweet in the title, and I can't remember what the fuck it is. Somebody's got to give me credit for this. Somebody's got to give me partial credit.
I will give you, I'll give you participation points, but those aren't worth shit.
Oh
so
my God.
We need to
Okay.
start keeping track.
What's the title? What is it, Brian? I give up.
You're right, Marcus. Gunpowder milkshake.
That's exactly what I thought it was. That's exactly what I thought it was. That's exactly. I have to get the point for that.
I mean, that's up to Doug. That is
I
totally
have
up
to get
to
the point
Doug.
for that. I was in the vicinity.
Like,
That was
you,
okay.
you were like
Is
knocking
that-
on the door.
Wait, Brian. Is that movie on Netflix? Mm-hmm. It is. I
It's a
got it.
Netflix exclusive.
you didn't know the name.
I did know that. We talked about it on
Okay.
here.
Here's what I'm
That's
gonna
a
say.
point.
I'm gonna let our listeners decide.
That's
So,
a point.
listeners,
Nobody even, they don't even be commenting on shit when we ask them to comment or subscribe to the Patreon.
You better get somebody to comment this week.
You better get somebody to comment if you want that point.
The time I need y'all to hop in the comment. Yo, I deserve a point for that. I was right in the vicinity. I was
Moms,
right there.
if you're listening, I know sometimes you listen. Like, just drop a comment on the Facebook.
Brittany,
I know you're on
can
Facebook.
anybody help me, please?
Yes. So we'll find out next week whether or not you get the point. Because I'm leaving it up to the listeners.
If I get the point, I'm tied up with Brian. I described it to a T. It was something sweet in the title.
You didn't say the title.
It was on Netflix. I had it, and I had the plot. The plot of it was him chilling with
He's
each other.
breaking up.
Brian,
He's so hyped.
Brian, was I also right about the conversation with an older woman?
Oh, yeah.
It was her mom, right?
Absolutely. It is Lena Headey talking to Karen Gillan. Yeah, you nailed it. It is Queen Cersei talking to Amy Pond. Yes.
You've made a fantastic case to our listeners as to whether or not you should get that point or not.
I hate it here.
All I'm saying is that I was like 1-2 words off on a movie once, and I did not get the point.
That's
I just want to put that out there.
Is this because I'm black?
No, it's not.
That's all I need to know.
When you said butterscotch soda, I lost it. I was like,
it was a soda. I knew it was something sweet, and I could not remember what the fuck it was like. I was like, there's a foot in there. It's a boot.
Look, Doug has already said Doug was the tiebreaker here, so I'm gonna follow his lead on this. Butterscotch soda though is now making me laugh and also, bringing me joy.
Go to your local theater, see the newest butterscotch soda.
I was right. It was a newie. It was on Netflix. It was a sweet in the title. They be killing. I had everything down.
Well, they there you have it, ladies and gentlemen.
Butterscotch soda.
Butterscotch soda. Enjoy. That goes down smooth.
That's the sequel.
That's a great sequel.
Yeah.
Starring Marcus
Dester. Oh my gosh.
God damn.
Anyway, that was Catch That Quotable.
Yes, it was.
I have inched myself one step closer, and to be honest,
I too have also inched myself one step closer.
Depending on how the audience is
next week, we'll find out if we're tied up.
We will find out. So, gentlemen, we have a movie to get to.
We do.
And this week for the podcast, we saw the movie Free Guy.
Yeah, we did.
Starring Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds. And it was in theaters and only in theaters. So this was the first one where you couldn't get it also in both places. But we need to make sure that everybody gets up to speed with a general synopsis of this.
And so I would love for Brian Roush to give our barbershop synopsis
today. Yeah, Brian, you give it away.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Take it away.
Yeah, hell yeah, Brian.
Take it away.
Okay. All right.
Don't forget to start with what had happened was.
We don't talk a lot in great clips, so this might be hard for us.
That's true. That is true. But I found a good stylist. I found a good, like, once you find a good stylist, like guys, like gentlemen, like get a stylist. Don't go to great clips or sports clips. Like get a stylist who knows your hair.
I remember yourself. Though I remember going to like a little sports shop and like the person coming and trying to cut my black ass hair with scissors. And that's just they came in. That's how they started. I was like, that's not going to get it.
That's this will not have a happy ending. Yes. Okay, barbershop. I'm totally doing this on the fly, ladies and gents. Here we go.
Yeah.
All right. So this movie, it's a video game. The entire movie is taking place in a video game. You got Ryan Reynolds. He's Guy. He's a generic guy. That's all you need to know. Mm-hmm. And it's all in a video game. It's just he's going about his life in a video game. He's a bank teller. The bank gets robbed all the time. All of a sudden, though, Ryan Reynolds, Guy, starts to think, what if there's more? And he sees a woman who just steals his little digital heart. And then the movie cuts out to our world, the real world. And you have these two characters, can't remember their names right now, but will find them. Great, cool. Matter. You got Guy and Lady. That's all you need to know. You got Guy and Lady.
Perfect.
Guy works for the big game company. He seems like a tortured soul. You don't really know why. Lady is an independent like game developer, and she's in the game for some reason. You're trying to figure out why. There's kind of a mystery, kind of not. You'll see it coming like a mile away. In any case, Guy is absolutely in love. He's trying to find Lady, who also has an avatar in the game, and she's trying to find something. He tries to tag along with her. What I'll say is a series of events leads us to find out that Guy is an AI that is fully aware of himself, and he has feelings, and he's a personality. And the rest of the movie kind of follows this plot line of, well, how do we work with Guy, a fully functional AI? And the main antagonist is oh my gosh, it's Korg,
man himself.
Taika Watiti, who I have thoughts about in this role, but essentially he plays like the big bad game developer. Like, he's supposed to be Activision Blizzard, just a total jerkhole, only out for money, and they're gonna make a sequel to the game that Guy is in, essentially. And so they're gonna wipe everything away. So Guy, they're gonna kill him because essentially he's a fully functional AI. So the rest of the movie is about trying to stop that from happening while also trying to find out about this world beyond the world. And that's essentially the movie in a nutshell. I feel like those are the main beats.
You know what, Brian?
That was great, Brian.
That was now going to have to be a weekly insert into the barbershop summary.
We might have to start having you on the side as a sub.
You did such a great job.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm happy to sub in for the barbershop. I'm always happy to do that. No, not at all. Because that was the Brian Roush version of like Guy and Lady do this. I mean, that was a very Brian Roush.
You know what's interesting? Her name is Molotov Girl. In the credits.
Thank you.
I can understand why it's hard to remember. Jodie Corner is the actress's real name.
She's got two names in this. Yeah,
she does. Isn't it a Pokimane? Yeah. Is it Pokimane? No. What's the other name?
Talking about
God, what was her real life name?
Millie.
Millie. It was Millie.
Yeah, it was Millie. Oh, Millie. Yeah.
Millie. Yep. Millie and Molotov Girl was her thing.
Yeah. So here we go.
This
is the cast. So it's a great segue into the cast. So Ryan Reynolds plays Guy. Jodie Comer plays Millie or Molotov Girl. Taika Watiti, Mr. Thruple himself, plays Antoine. Lil Rel Howery stars in this as Guy's friend Buddy. Joe Keery from Stranger Things is in this as Keys.
That's who that is. God damn it. I was like, yo, who is this guy with the semi big head that I just can't remember what he was. Okay, yep, that makes sense.
Yep. And so and also Channing Tatum has a cameo in this as well as another another real life person's avatar in the game. So that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah.
As a update on box office numbers, because it's relevant to our interests, this movie did better than expected at the box office. It took in $28.4 million at the North American box office and made $50.9 million worldwide. This is a surprise because most people thought that it was only going to bring in about $20 million at the box office in the North America. So it exceeded expectations and was a little bit of a nice, happy surprise for Disney's 20th Century Fox Studios. So
and also immediately got the sequel.
Did they really?
Yeah. Ryan Reynolds announced it in a tweet how it was an original IP. You know, Disney's requesting basically a sequel for like this original IP. It was something about it being ironic or irony or something like that.
So, sure. Yeah. But gentlemen, we got to start somewhere. Oh, it's also really important for people to know the stakes of this. So Marcus and I saw this in the theater, and Brian also saw this in the theater.
Can I say it? I'll say it. Here we go. Listen,
you please. I want everyone to understand the stakes.
Here's the thing, Marcus. I am strictly going to be a clean slate for this movie. I'm going to tell you my thoughts on it.
Yeah,
but I am not really flowing either way. I'm just spoiler. Like this is how I'm feeling. Right. It is up to these two gentlemen to kind of make the decision on like where I fall with this. With this movie.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I'll tell you why. I have never left a movie or I've fallen asleep on one movie. I left this movie to take a shit.
He did. Right in the middle of it.
Doug was right there. It wasn't the middle. It was like closer to the end middle. Yeah. And so, but it was a shit that I didn't have to go take, but I decided to once I found out that there was more plot in this 2-hour movie. And I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. And I went to go take a shit.
Yeah,
So
you did.
with that being said, I will give you my thoughts, but at the end of this, it will determine where I fall with this movie.
There you go. That's the best way. I like it. So I will so playing the role of your little devil on your shoulder, that would be me. But Brian and everybody else, what did y'all like about this particular movie? Brian.
I mean, I'll start us off. Look, I'm the positive Pete here. Okay, the things I liked
Somebody's
about
got
this
the role.
movie was the fact that it was original.
Yeah.
This is an original
That's
movie.
true.
This is not a franchise or anything. And in a summer that feels like, I don't know if people remember the summer in particular, but like there was a summer where the only original movie was Pacific Rim. That was it.
Yeah.
Everything else, every other weekend was quite literally like a sequel or a spinoff.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it was like, okay, this is like the original movie I'm going to see this summer. So that's kind of how Free Guy felt a little bit. Like I know the Suicide Squad, technically its own thing, but it's a sequel in the DC universe, so to speak. So I was excited for that. I love video games and I loved all the video game homages. And I loved that oh my gosh, Ready Player One and Space Jam could learn from this movie because like there are video game references in here, but you have to know them. Like the tank that's rolling down. Oh, by the way, we're going to get into all the spoilers here, folks. So if you haven't seen Free Guy, stop listening. And if you don't want spoilers, if you don't care about spoilers, I'm going to tell them all to you right now. But there's a scorpion tank from Halo just rolling down the street. And I was like, oh, hey, that's nice. Like it was enjoyable. It wasn't like a centerpiece for in like Ready Player One. It was like, hey, Master Chief is here. Do you see him? Do you see him? Good. Next IP.
That's true.
Like it was just, I don't know. That was refreshing. It wasn't super in your face. And then when they did do the fan servicey stuff, it felt very well earned. And that's one of the things I really enjoyed about it. And I enjoyed the story overall, but honestly, I just loved Ryan Reynolds. Like the man is incredibly charming and can sell anything. Like this guy, man, he is one of the most charming people on the planet. Like, I mean, just he sold every line. He was so wholesome. Like everything was just like, oh, like any line he had, even if it was sad, it was just like, oh. Reynolds, shucks. You're trying your best. Like, bless you. Like that was the vibe from the entire movie, and that was nice. That was nice. That also like, I also feel like there's this weird genre emerging of like wholesome, trying to do well white guy, but like we'll get into that later because like I feel like Ted Lasso is trying to do some of that too. But like,
careful, Brian.
Oh, I'm not saying anything bad about it. I'm just saying like it feels like there's this like thing happening, and I've seen it in more than one like thing.
I feel you.
So I just want to call that out, but like I don't feel like it was bad or anything. I was just like, you're trying your best, Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah,
that's great. But I think those are like the two main things. Like I think it was appropriate service of like all the video game elements in it, and it was an easy story. Like I didn't go in expecting anything mind-blowing. I just wanted something enjoyable. So that was accomplished.
That's fair. Yeah, entirely fair. For me, I appreciated in addition to the things that like Brian mentioned, I do appreciate the level of like energy that all of the actors in this brought. Like, I think a lot of them put this movie on their back and tried to get it to the finish line. And it definitely shows how hard they worked for it. I mean, the gentleman who plays Keys does an outstanding job. And for being a pseudo like main protagonist in this, like, and that's the thing that I think is funky about this is he's kind of sort of like one of the lead protagonists in this, but he also is in the background at the same time, so he's got this kind of like odd role is how I would describe it. But I thought he did an outstanding job. I mean, in addition to directing, Taika Watiti does an outstanding job here.
I'm going to come back to that later.
I enjoyed his portrayal. I did. At first, I enjoyed it. Towards the end, I found it a little obnoxious, but we can come back to that later. But I thought he did a good job. I thought the actress who played Millie did a good job. So just all around, I think
Jodie Comer, she's incredible.
Yes. So I think the
She's-
cast did a good job, and I
she's alright.
enjoyed the castings.
And
in this
she's from
particular
Killing
movie.
Eve, by the way. If you're like, I can't place this face,
Oh, sure.
she's from Killing Eve.
Okay. I recognized her from somewhere. I have not seen Killing Eve, but I
Okay.
definitely felt like for the majority of this, I was like, okay, all right.
Yeah, she's won an Emmy. Like she's
Probably
great.
familiar. And then I also enjoyed, like Brian mentioned, like I'm not a huge gamer, but I did pick up on the video game like elements here that I thought were fun. Like you never really see video game movies typically are either like Ready Player One,
Yes.
like this, or they are like, have you seen Super Mario Brothers? Like this is what it would be like if they were in real life. And you're like, oh fuck, this is awful. Like I don't want this at all. And they're like,
That
"You
Super
got
Mario
it."
Brothers movie.
Sound
By the
got
way,
it.
if you join our Patreon at the, I believe it's like the 3rd tier. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
It doesn't matter. We are
Look,
pulling
you
our
join
group.
at the Patreon tier, the correct one. You can tell us what movie to review, and we will do the Super Mario Brothers
Dear
movie.
God
We will
from heaven.
commit time and talk about this. So if
Yes.
that's something you want, join our Patreon.
I almost secretly want that to be the one. But that's the interesting thing, right? Like I think this is a movie that said, what if this is about video games, but it's not it's not this, it's similar to Ready Player One, but it's also very different because it's like all of those things that you like about GTA. It's like, but what if you followed the character around? Like you followed one of those side characters around, and you
Well-
kind of got to see them interact with everything, which I think is neat. Like I
Yeah.
think the originality of that is neat, and well executed. I have some different that will feel nitpicky issues with this. Also, it's going to seem like I'm on a crusade against love stories, so I just want to put that out there before. we get to the bag.
Interesting.
That's really interesting. It's interesting you said that. Why that's okay.
Oh yeah.
It's a hell of a warming, a hell of a
Yeah.
comment.
Oh yeah. I want
Yeah.
everybody to have that going into this. that
What, Marcus? What's going on, man? Talk to me. What's
Okay.
going on? I care about you.
He's trying to give you the butterscotch soda. He's being all sweet over there.
Marcus is ready to give me that butterscotch soda.
Because I should have got that point. But I should have gave that. Actually, that sounds pretty sexy. I'm gonna say that. Next time.
Butterscotch.
Girl, let me
Wait,
eat this
no.
butterscotch soda. What does
Oh
that
my
even
God.
sound like? Sweet and sticky. Wait, what? Okay, here's where I'm at. For things that I like, I obviously enjoy Ryan Reynolds. He could sell piss to a toilet seat. Like that's
It's
like
true.
you know what I mean. Like it's got to go there anyway. But when Ryan Reynolds said, "You like man, like I should have did this a long time ago." You know what I mean? Like it's like
Yeah.
that's like Brian is absolutely right. He's super charming. Ready Player One set the tone for movies like this, in my opinion, because of the way that I feel like Ready Player One.
Yeah.
Was the it was like a snowball effect after that of how to do it in this manner, how to bring the real world to video gaming without it seeming like a thing that is like, man, that's not realistic or it's unfathomable. Like it's like Ready Player One did the most dramatic shit ever that allowed Space Jam to be what it is, that allows Free Guy to be what this is, and like
For sure.
so on and so forth, in my opinion.
No, I think you have a point of like the effects of like
Yes,
merging
how it looks.
real life and the
Yes.
interface. I think you have
Yes.
a point. Yes.
Just strictly just based off of the effects and how it looks, right?
For sure.
So because of that, I enjoyed the way that this world was created. You put the shades on, you see this thing, you take the shades off, you see this thing. I like the storyline was simple. Okay. I have quarrel with the storyline with how much they try to go to like a plot, B plot. Like I have some quarrel with the storyline a little bit. But
there's one part I thought was egregious. Go ahead.
I'm pretty sure we're probably going to hit the same thing.
Okay.
But as far as what I like Ryan Reynolds. I like this idea of, oh, those are people with the shades. You don't do that. I like the idea of this. It's an original idea.
Yeah,
I like
huge.
that this is Guy. This is what he does. He's a bank teller. This is what he feels. And the basis of Guy and how he's feeling this stuff, the storyline behind that made sense to me. Hey, we developed this world where this AI was like, you know, had feelings, or it's this world where it develops on its own and you watch it. Cool. And then Ryan Reynolds is part of that character, that base of the, or like that whatever that is now injected into this video game. I like how they explain that. So for me, that is what I enjoy. I am not a video gamer. I was telling Doug before we got started. I'll do Arkham Knight. I'll do the Batman games. I'll do the, I'm not even good at shooter games or anything like that. Like I was doing, Brian had brought up on his TikTok. It was Star Wars
Oh my gosh,
Commanders.
Rebel Commander.
It was
I've been,
yes
I've been
on
playing a
Xbox.
ton. Clone Wars,
The
Rogue
clone,
Leader.
yes, that one. It was. I had that on my Xbox, and it was a game I played all the time. Like when you got it was also a demo I used to play all the time. When you got to a certain point in the demo, you used to be able to become Obi-Wan, and so like then you would go around and then you would like chop them up, beat them up.
Oh yeah,
whatever.
you'd slice and dice.
Yeah, for sure. And that was like the best part. I played those games. Games got really difficult at a certain point where like RPGs and Final Fantasy, I was never good at those. Like Kingdom Hearts, I kind of teetered on, but it was just I never picked up on that. Once Madden started getting so advanced where people were sweating, I was like, all right, man, I think I need to get out of here.
Bring back NFL Blitz.
Yeah, like the old school game. Yeah, like that was good.
Blitz.
Yeah. So for me, I enjoyed all this video game stuff. I did not notice all the little things like Brian's talking about at all. So maybe that's why I missed half the movie because half the movie was that. I saw Shield and I was like, that's Captain America's shield. And
oh my gosh.
Like,
yes.
Yeah.
I will also say this as far as like video game stuff. I've played video games and I'll play every now and again, but I've never gotten any type of enjoyment since Halo. I will say that since
Halo's good too.
I have not really gotten a ton of enjoyment from the latest iteration of like multiplayer games.
Okay.
Like Fortnite is just not my shtick. I don't give a shit. It sounds overtly complicated for someone who just likes to sit down and play for a little bit.
Makes a lot of money though. God damn it.
Yo,
It
absolutely.
does. Well, and go ahead.
Good. No, Brent, go ahead. You're good.
Well, and I think you bring up a good point. Like this game that they're talking about, it's not. I don't know the right way to say it, but yeah, if you haven't been plugged into video games for like the past 5-ish years, this probably looks completely foreign to you. Like you might be like, "Oh, this kind of looks like Grand Theft Auto," but like, so many games, and this is the part where you're going to be like, "Yeah, he used to write about video games." Like the industry has moved so much more to like games as a like. Here's this open world, and you just keep going back there and doing different stuff in it because we want to sell you more stuff, and that's what this game was. It wasn't like an Arkham Knight. It wasn't like a racing game or like an art. Like there was maybe RPG elements to it, but it was very much like, what if like Fortnite and GTA had a baby, and this is it? And so if you don't know that's the direction games have gone, or that's like the most popular games, I definitely feel like your enjoyment is correlated with it because I was able to pick up on that stuff of like, oh, this is supposed to be like the quote unquote game everybody plays. And, you're just going around doing stuff. There's no story, right? Like, because when I talk to somebody else about this, like, oh, well, what game is it based on? I'm like, oh, it's not based on a game. It's like open world. And they're like, I don't know what that means, and you're like, okay, never mind. So I think you bring up a good point. Like, if you're not familiar with that change in games, like it might affect your enjoyment of the movie.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's a great point to make, Brian, because I definitely had, I don't want to say a harder time because I definitely noticed like the Halo tank in it and I noticed some of those things.
Right.
But I also feel like, and this is maybe to the movie's credit, it's centered in a video game, but I didn't feel like there were video game components of this that were required for me to understand the story. Minus the leveling up piece. But to be honest with you, that seemed like we need to get from point A to point B, and we don't have a way to connect those things.
Yeah.
Oh, just make him a lower level and he has to level up. It's like, okay, fuck. Or otherwise this movie's an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Like, I that definitely is the
Which,
angle
that would have been okay. I just want to say that. I would have been 100% okay.
That.
Yeah.
That definitely feels like there's no entry point. I mean, they don't even like try to go into the like, Ryan Reynolds incredulously says, like, why do you keep reaching back here? Like to talk about pulling things out of what would be someone's like backpack or what they're carrying on them. Yeah. But there's nothing else that's required for me to understand to be like, wait, what? Like it's pretty simple and easy to comprehend. So I think that's something to their credit. I mean, they took something and made it complex enough for it to be enjoyable, but not so overly complex that it was a like you're not going to get this.
Yeah, and I think the other thing I need to say too, before because I'm kind of getting the vibe we're ready to talk about kind of some of the things that we weren't so sure about, is like I enjoyed that this movie. It does have a love story, but not really, in my opinion. Like it's almost a fake out love story to its credit. It's because the point I'm trying to make is that the movie ends
love
with
story.
Ryan Reynolds and Lil Rel, Buddy and Guy. Like it ends with the two of them like being like, "Oh, you're alive! Oh, you're alive! That's awesome! We're gonna go explore this world together." And I was like, "That's the ending. Like that's the ending I like. That is the ending that resonates with me because like I feel like a lot of the time we have this really cookie cutter love story." And I'm good. Like, I don't know if it's because I'm just not the target demographic. Maybe that would be different, but like, I don't know. I'm not the target demographic for whatever reason. I loved that the movie ended with Guy and Buddy being like, yeah, we're going to go on adventures and we're going to be friends and it's going to be rad as hell. And I was like, that's awesome. Like, I love that because they've been through so much together. And they've done all these things and they I don't know, that really resonated with me. I didn't need the love story. It was fine. It just felt like they put so many eggs in different baskets that they just had to kind of hurry up and finish everything, even though this movie's already like 2 hours. But in any case, that closure really resonated with me. I really liked Ryan Reynolds and Lil Rel running off into their fantasy land.
I think that their execution of the love story was bad, but I do like I do like the story of Millie. I do like the parallels of two different types of love and relationships, right?
Oh, sure.
I like the idea of the real world Millie and Key, and then I like Buddy and Guy because it shows two different things of like what you can do with emotions and feelings in two different types of relationships, right? Yeah. But what I feel like should have been the core, like what pissed me off closer to the end was Millie not understanding that Key wrote. Basically, that AI exists because of Key having feelings for her. And they missed that whole thing and tried to jam it into the last 10 minutes of the film.
So,
go ahead, Brad.
Go ahead, Doug, because I'm gonna
he
go
said it. Like he fucking said it. Like he halfway in the movie, they were like having this conversation, and I was like, "What? Are you not listening? Like, what is happening here? Like, this is this was stupid. Like, it just made me mad.
It
like,
pissed me off.
love story
questioned my sanity a little bit when that part happened because I was like, she already knows this. She knows this. Like, she knows she's the girl, right? Like, we already know this information.
He said, I based it off of the person I was sitting next to. I had to base like the algorithm or the book or the coding off of somebody, and I based it off of you. This person who is so familiar with video games
and
went into a
smart,
game
clearly,
and was like, wow, bubble gum ice cream. I love that. Oh, is that a swing? I love that too. God damn, is these views like
to just me?
This shit is like it's everything that I love. What is the coincidence here? And like fell in love with the character and kissed him instead of being like, oh, wait a minute, Key paid attention to me. And like you could have cut 30 minutes of the film because you went back to watch a video to watch him say, hey, I wrote this after you because I'm an artist. And then I was like, oh, so you ignored him. He doesn't deserve you. That's a red flag. Fuck you.
It felt like they didn't want to go back and do reshoots for like something else.
Yes.
And they were like, you know what? We have this clip.
Yeah.
We could just do that again and we can go home for dinner. And they're like, yeah, let's do that. All right, we're done. Like that's what it felt like.
Missed opportunity.
And it feels like, and this is my first critique of this, is that it feels like, and it's centered around that love story because that love story frustrated me so much. Because there could have been something really deep in there. Like there could have been like a connection in there. But there's several things that I think that stemmed from that love story that never got flushed out. And it seems like that it was like they were going through script cuts and they said, we need to cut 100%. Some things, but they didn't go back to check it. And that's my critique. Is that this movie has too much fucking going on for what is supposed to be a fun joyride. Not to say it wasn't a fun joyride. It just has too much shit going on. And my best example of the like whole reshoot thing is, why did Millie show up in the server room?
That was also bizarre.
It feels like it should have been Keys versus Antoine.
Yeah.
Antoine knocks Keys out. Millie shows up.
Yes.
But they cut the rest of it, and that's what blows my mind.
That definitely felt forced. It definitely felt like, oh, we need to get her here. So
Right.
let's have Steve Trevor text
And-
her.
and the-
Or,
and the-
sorry, whatever his name is, Keys. Sorry.
And the
Yeah, I'm thinking
agreement
Stranger
that they
Things.
made, like the agreement that they made, Millie makes at the end of the movie with him is like,
Yeah.
it's crazy to me. But okay, I get it. You just want your property back, but like, okay, whatever. But also, this idea that, oh my God, okay, this idea that Millie goes this whole time, she wants one thing, okay? She want.
Okay.
Oh, this is what I was gonna say. Sorry, I lost my train of thought, but I got it.
That's okay.
You started this movie with Guy falling in love with Millie, right? And he was
Yes.
like, that was the thing that woke up his synapses and woke up like all of these feelings, synapses. I'm sorry, and like woke up all of these feelings inside of him, and then that becomes a non-existent. So like his first interaction. Here's how I'm perceiving the movie.
Okay.
His first interaction is finding this beautiful woman who just seems different. Okay, I get it. The coding matched up. He found the person he was looking for. It was key finding Millie, right? The rest of the movie is not that. It's like the movie ends with him not in love anymore, or like love is transitioning to something else. Like it just feels like it kind of just falls off. Like, okay, so what does he do with these feelings then? Because the thing that woke him up was a woman that he, whatever. And then the end of the movie ends with he doesn't really have a partner or anything. Like, I guess love is love. Is that the end? Like, what is the story
It
that we're
means
trying to
that
get
we're
across?
eventually going to transcend love, and we'll just no longer need it. A few evolutionary cycles from here. It's just we're going to grow out of it. And I look forward to that day.
I had to just jumble through that whole thought process, but that was what I was thinking.
My interpretation was that, like, once Guy is aware that he is an AI, and then he understands that he was coded to love her, like to be awakened by Millie. I feel like what I took from like the way I made sense of it, I was like, oh, like they're telling me that the AI can learn and it can evolve. He understands what's happening and he's literally evolved. Oh, the only way I'm like this is I want to be something else. And that's how I interpreted it.
Okay.
I don't think that was communicated. I don't think that was clear. I got to that on my own, but there wasn't anything in the movie to get there except for like, I want to say like 2-3 lines of dialogue of Guy being like, hey, like I was programmed to like you and I don't know about that. And it was just like, and we're done. Like it didn't really expand on it. They just cut it off. You know?
And that's also how the movie was promoted. And I guess that's my thing is like, okay, kind of like Frozen. I guess, you kind of want to do the, oh, they're going to get married. And this is a movie about a princess and but then Frozen was like, gotcha, motherfucker. No, it's not. It's really about two sisters in love.
Yes.
Which is fine. I get it. But it's what, like Doug said, it's too much shit going on at once. I got to think about Millie and Key, Tita Wakiti and Key, and then I got to think about Buddy and Guy, and then Guy and Mazel Tov, and then like it's like too many people at once.
And you got to think about the other customer person, the customer complaint person who worked with Key, and like what is his role and what is his fucking story. And it was like, I get it. Like, I don't need to necessarily, again, we should make a shirt that says trust your audience. But I get that the faith was that like they'll just figure it out. They're friends and they have a really good friendship, but it's not like
you couldn't tell by the dialogue of that's my boy Key. Key is my boy.
That was very like,
but that's the thing I don't understand is it's like, yeah, you said that at the very end, but the rest of the movie he did nothing but like basically fuck him over. So how are they friends? Like I don't get this at all.
I mean, it wasn't telegraphed if that was the intent. What it does feel, Doug, I think to your point, this does definitely feel like a movie that suffered from a lot of script changes, and they just either couldn't go back and reshoot everything they wanted, or they didn't care, or they just worked with what they had. And it's fine. I get it. Like everybody gets there, but like it was a little bit more choppy than it needed to be.
Yeah. And I feel like this is I feel like there's another, I don't want to say another cut of this, but I think, I mean, a lot of this was digitally rendered, which we all know is expensive. So like, it could be that they just ran out of budget and the studio next to it. Cause it was like, we're not even sure this is supposed to do that well. I mean, they didn't think it was going to make it past $20 million in its opening weekend. So they were probably like, we're not shelling out more for this than we have to. So,
and let me be Captain Context for like a minute. Like this movie
I want you to be Captain Context all the time.
This movie is literally like the fulcrum of the point in which Disney took over Fox.
Yes.
And I feel like this movie, in a sense, is like you're seeing Disney take over like the Fox studio in real time with this movie, to the point where the finale is Ryan Reynolds taking out Captain America's shield and Hulk's fist and Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber, like all within 30 seconds, which I was ecstatic about. But like you can just see the takeover in real time, and at the end of the movie, you're like, this is a Disney movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I one of the questions I'm not usually a stickler for ratings or anything, right?
Yeah.
But one of the things me and Doug had mentioned, it was like, is this rated R or PG-13? We couldn't remember in the movie because we saw kids walking in, and kids were walking into the theater, and Doug leaned over. He was like, is it PG-13 or is it rated R?
Yes.
As the movie progresses, Ryan Reynolds drops at least 3 F-bombs.
The one with the goldfish is the one. You cannot escape it if you're a parent, by the way.
Right in the face.
It is directly in your face, F-bomb. And there were kids in front of me, and I was like, okay. All right.
But like the kids are with their parents, and like let your kids watch what they want. That's not the conversation I'm having. Right. I guess it's PG-13 has changed as to it feels like it's changed a little bit more, because this really felt close to a Deadpool movie, which is PG-13 or rated R. That's rated R. Deadpool's rated R.
It did have the Deadpool vibe, everything except for like the violence.
Yeah,
I mean, I agree, because there were some suggestive things that were said in this movie that I did not think were suggestive, but maybe that's just me.
Well, the cop. One of the things that felt weird to me, the cop saying someone's going to get shot. And to me, it just that echoed a lot differently to me, because I was like, I don't think your cop is supposed to say that shit. But
Officer Johnny,
Officer Johnny. It was like, and I was just like, man, I don't think a cop is supposed to say that, but that could be my black senses tingling. But
the way police are portrayed in this movie, I felt uncomfortable with. I was uncomfortable.
They had a guy dressed as a cop. He was dressed as a cop, letting rounds off at strangers.
That didn't feel good to me, but I also know I'm a little bit more sensitive to it over the
No, Brian. Seriously, I understood that it was funny, but also when the cop said somebody's gonna get shot, I didn't know if that was supposed to be funny or what, but I didn't know how to perceive that reaction, because I was like, this didn't feel like that line should have been here.
I agree.
And then like a cop as a bunny. Like, what? I didn't understand that whole shtick.
Oh, that was just more like you can choose any outfit in the game. And as admins, they can literally choose whatever they want, probably.
I can tell you,
that's how I interpreted it.
That's
and
fair.
I can tell you under that, guys, I don't know who said like, oh yeah, it's funny, keep having him call himself an apex predator. I was fucking over it like the second time he said it. And I was like, if this is his catchphrase for the movie, I'm out. Like,
then he says, bunnies, all we do as bunnies is hunt and
all we do is hunt.
That's right.
And destroy or something like. And that's what another point where I was like, is this PG-13 again? Because like, is this a furry thing, or is it like, you know what I mean? Like whatever.
I mean, probably.
I thought F-bombs. So I looked up the rating of this movie during the previews, by the way, because I was like, we're getting R-rated previews? What is happening? And I was like, this is PG-13, okay. And I thought you could only use one F-bomb in a PG-13.
That's what I thought the rule was.
So when they popped up multiple times, I was like, this is really skirting it. Like, this is really skirting it.
And again, aggressive too.
Well, again, right? There's more violence than romance in it, so PG-13. Now, if Millie and Guy shared anything more than a passionate kiss,
would have been an R.
Yeah, immediately.
If you'd seen a nipple, it would have been an R.
Okay, that's not exactly where I was going with that, but
or sack
or gooch, whichever you're gonna get with.
The gooch will definitely get you a hard R.
You want a gooch? You want an R? Show them the gooch. Where I'm at with this, I think
the sequel, Guys Gooch.
No.
All right. I'm gonna
I
I'm gonna give everybody.
was like,
I'm
hey,
gonna
let's
give
talk about
everybody.
the MPA's weird standards, and then we end with
right about the gooch. Yeah, Brian, don't try to legitimize this.
The
We're just
taint.
getting twisted on here.
The taint.
Here's what I'm gonna say. I think that Ryan Reynolds did an outstanding job in the movie.
Yeah.
Okay, where's the butt?
Here's the but. I disagreed with the choice to make the NPC characters he was talking to not respond. And I said this to I said this to Marcus when we were like riding back when he was dropping me off at my house after the movie.
Because we had margaritas and fajitas before the movie.
We had margaritas and fajitas beforehand.
Margaritas and fajitas.
My issue with this is like I felt like he was very quippy. He was very like, let me deliver you a one-liner. But the strength of I believe that the strength of Ryan Reynolds comes from the quips in a conversation that is back and forth, and it felt very much like throughout this movie that he would say something like the whole line with the cats, like when he says like they don't have thumbs, like they can't close your fucking door, like when he says that in and of itself is funny. But you didn't see her side of it. It was essentially felt very. We're gonna put Ryan Reynolds in an environment where he's just gonna generate catchphrases for us that people can repeat after they've seen the movie, and that bugged me because I was just kind of over it. I was like, I don't need another catchphrase movie. Like we've kind of moved away from that anyway. So why did we do it here? It just kind of it didn't bother me, and it's not to take away from his performance. I think he did a good job. It's just it was one of those things that kept sticking throughout the whole movie, and maybe it's that uncanny valley thing. Like I felt a hard time connecting because I was like, he's turning this out, but I'm not seeing the reality of these other people interact with him. But minus, Molotov Girl and Buddy, it was just one of those connect, and that's just for me. So I don't expect other people to have that same experience, but it just felt very, all right, go on, quip generator. Good job. There was another one.
No, you bring up a good point, and I'll say this: Lil Rel carried that for me. I didn't care because every interaction he had, I was like, "This is nice." Like these two guys, I didn't
and
care.
That moment in his apartment where he's like, in that moment when they're in the apartment, he says like, "I don't care about that because this matters." It's like, fuck yeah, that's a good that was a good moment.
I loved that moment so much because as someone that really went into video games hard in middle school and high school, one of the biggest critiques is people were always just like, that's not real, you're just wasting your time. And the experiences I had with other people staying up late playing Nintendo 64 GoldenEye, and then me going to grad school, and I was super poor in grad school, and the only thing I had was my Xbox 360 and Call of Duty, and I would link up with people online. Shout out to Justin Valenstein, my fraternity brother, who was like, "Hey, do you play Call of Duty?" And I was like, "Yeah." And we would talk for hours. We would talk for hours playing Call of Duty, and none of it mattered, right? But what mattered was the connection we had, and I cherish that because being a poor grad student, I couldn't go out and do a lot, but I could go talk to my friend Justin and we could share experiences and stuff like that. And so that really connected with me that they were able to verbalize that in such a beautiful way. I just wanted to say that really connected with me.
No, that's a cool moment. And Brian, I 100% agree of those moments playing with other people. That's a huge part of it. And I think that's a fantastic point that you made. And that's why I think that moment in his apartment is so special, is because it's really the highlight of that this isn't just a game. I do want to pivot us to talk about Taika Watiti, and I'm going to start off by saying that navy denim fucking duster.
God damn it!
I want someone to purchase that for me, and I'm going to wear it around town because that fucking jacket made my day. I went out of my way in the movie. I looked at Marcus. I said, "I want that fucking jacket." He was like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, I could pull that shit off."
And then when the second jacket came in, he was like, "I don't like that jacket as much. I want the first one." And I was like, "What the fuck? What do you want to do?"
Welcome to Fashion in Black and White. I'm here to talk about the jackets.
Whoever did costuming for him on
Yeah.
the spot. You were
Yeah.
you were fantastic.
And
Jeans, what
here's
looked like Nike sneakers,
Yeah.
jogger jeans, what
those
looked
were
like
definitely
like
Balenciagas.
yeah, those were
Something
nice
expensive.
sneakers with
Yeah.
a hoodie and then that fucking duster on top.
Yeah.
Sign me the fuck up. I don't know where you get that, but I'm here for it.
Oh, what the? All right. Anyways, here's what I'll say. I do like the idea of when he has this moment at the coffee shop, right?
Mhm.
And he's like, you know what, today I want to do a cappuccino.
Right.
And he says that, and the barista's like, no, you got to get your normal. The moment that happens after that, when she looks at the cappuccino thing and she's like, cappuccino?
Yeah.
And then later on, it's referenced that, yeah, they had one of the
taught
baristas
herself.
who taught herself how to make cappuccinos. Like when, and then when at the bank robbery, when he was talking to the lady who wrote a memoir about,
right.
you know, gender roles and everything like that. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that callback to show the evolution of certain characters. While it took Buddy a minute to evolve and get out of his own, you know, he was really stuck in his ways and like, this is what we do, this is how things are. It took him a little bit more time. For others, some had immediate turnarounds where when they had these interactions, and that is something that I liked and once again felt like could have been more of a center point for this movie. And while we're at the bed, I just feel like it was just too many plot lines going on, because you have Key and Key and versus Key and Millie versus Taika Watiti. Then you have Guy versus this entire gang, technically versus Taika Watiti. And then you have and then you have Buddy and Guy trying to figure out their relationship as Guy's evolving, Buddy is not. And then you have Key and Millie, like, I'm not supposed to be talking to you, but then he continues to talk to her after that, like 24/7. So fuck that NDA, right? and there's like so many moments, and it's like, okay, let's pick one.
Yeah.
Let's pick one or two and do those very well. I feel like we could have discovered the parallel between Buddy and Guy and Millie and Key, and without even getting to the part where Guy likes Millie. Like, there could have been another thing that activated like Guy's emotions.
And I feel okay. So if we're gonna do some like backseat driving here, I didn't understand. So the reboot sequence, which was a solid probably 5 to 10 minute sequence of like, oh, Guy is ruining the game, and they're like, why don't we reboot? And they're like, yeah, let's reboot. And it's like this huge thing. It is. I think it's supposed to be like the crux of the second act. I think
I mean, it's the build up to the second act,
and like it doesn't work for me. That part of the movie did not work for me because then after that it's like, we have to help Guy remember, and I'm like,
it was a whole. You made me I think that was the moment that I took a shit. I think that was the moment, because I was like, wait a minute, there's more to this story. Because I was literally, I felt every 2 hour, 30 minutes of this, because it was like there came a moment I was like, okay, we're almost done with this. Like, we're almost finished, and it was just enough story for me to enjoy it. And they're like, well, Guy, now we got to remind Guy who he is. And I'm like, no, fuck that. Like, no, I don't really need that. That's where
I audibly in the theater went, fuck this movie. Like, I just was so exhausted by the, like, we gotta make this motherfucker remember.
You didn't need it.
You understand how code works? Doing a fucking reboot isn't gonna delete his code. It's not like you have
they had to explain that.
Down.
They had to explain that. And that was the other thing, is during the entire movie, they're explaining certain things that are gaming things for those of us that just don't understand it. Right. So then you have I think what makes it too much, what makes that part too much, is you have to explain that, and why the reflection in the fucking things matter, and why this is a thing. And it's like, because you have to explain it, it's not the plot, it's the amount of context I need in order to fully understand why this fucking matters.
And you know what? Like, you could have cut this 10 minutes of the build up, the reboot after the reboot, because here's the thing, like, when you're telling a story, you got to have consequences. That's one of the things that pushes our characters to the next phase or growth or whatever. And this just didn't add anything to the characters. I would have forgiven this if, like, Keys would have, like, I don't know. He's like, oh my gosh, this is awful. I know how much it means to Millie. And we saw him go out of his way to like make things good with Millie, or like
Mhm.
it pushes him to do something. Like it has a consequence or it shoves him to growth, even though everything's going to be okay. Right. Like those are the things we enjoy in stories. Nobody has any
No.
growth. Nobody
No.
learns from this. Nobody is changed by this. It's literally like a speed bump in the story for some reason. I don't know why. And I would love context for this. And maybe there's something I'm missing, but quite literally, it's a 10-minute speed bump to the point of Ryan Reynolds being like, they didn't turn off reflections, which you can still talk about and still move on with your story. So
Yeah.
that was like, I'm not going to say a low point. That was the point I enjoyed the least because I was like, we don't need this. Like,
Well,
trust your
And
audience.
the over explanation as to why he was clicking his blinds up and down. Like I get that they wanted to slide that little piece in there, but it wasn't something that I noticed until they made me notice it.
Right.
And that's what made it a problem.
Well, and I think the other thing that bugs me about it is like you talk about consequences, Brian. Like, and I think that that's what makes like the villain in this like so frustrating is because he's such a dipshit. Like he's such an aloof like character that doesn't matter because no like game developer in their right mind is gonna go wipe all the data. Like, do you know, like Brian, you used to work in like video game reporting. Do you know the outcry from players who maybe bought skins or invested money if you just said, by the way, I'm fucking erasing it all?
Yeah.
No,
It was,
like,
yeah.
and this almost
leave
happened,
in droves.
by the way.
What?
This particular situation is actually very reminiscent of Cyberpunk. If you're familiar with that game, it was shipped unfinished, and then some of like the skins they wouldn't show up. Like it wouldn't materialize because the game was so buggy. It's not a 1-to-1 situation, but like
but it's similar.
It's very similar in the idea that like, hey, I earned this thing in the game and I want to wear it and it's not here. That would take over Twitter for a week.
Yeah.
Well, and the fact that game shut down twice in one day.
Oh yeah.
You're talking about a major stream. If this game is as big as they say it is, that game shut down twice and had glitches, and nobody even batted a fucking eye.
Right.
Yes.
Well, and just the amount of time it would have taken to, after doing a hard reset like that, to rewrite some of that code to like fix. I mean, there's just parts of this where it's like, okay, I get it. Like, we're not supposed to go that in the depth, and it's very critiquey, but it's like this movie is 2.5 hours with no concept of time. Like, is this 2 days?
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
I agree.
Is this a month? Like, there are moments where it's night during the game, but it's daytime when you switch back. Like, where the fuck and when the fuck am I in the relation to everything going on? And it's not like crucial, but it is one of those moments where it's like, well, how much time has gone by?
Because all we really know is he dies and gets a different pair of shades. That is the only thing that keeps like some type of timeline as to like, he must have died because he got a new pair of glasses.
Right.
Yeah.
It's very it's very nitpicky, but it's one of those things of like, I think, again, I don't expect them to dive hard into like code or answer those questions, but I would like them to shed some light on like just a couple of those things. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'd like you to shed a little bit of light on the like how much time has gone by. Because
but you have to spend that time
relevant.
You have to spend that time explaining context as to like terms and why things matter, like reflection.
I mean, but at the same time, I didn't care about any of that because Ryan Reynolds was being the catchphrase machine.
Right.
Like, you make a great point that like he's doing that so well. You're not thinking about like, wait, exactly how's time working here? Because if he has this much time, XYZ. I feel like these two are running parallel to each other.
Right. Yeah. And again, that doesn't bash anybody's performance or anything, but yes, you're exactly right, but Brian, if he was trying to deliver like quality content and exposition, this movie would have felt a lot longer, but because he's a one-man quip machine, like, it didn't matter.
Well, and I agree. And Taika Watiti, I'm going to just say this. I feel like that part was miscast. I enjoy him. I would love to have him on the show. We
ain't having him now.
Well, I mean, maybe.
It's over.
I just
Like,
I
if you're
want to
listening,
know what the casting process for this was, because some of it just felt really forced at times, and I don't know if that was script or him, but
I think that Ryan Reynolds and Taika, because they were in Green Lantern together, I think that they have a relationship where you appear in my movie,
maybe
I'll
that's
appear in
another
your
set of
movie.
thruples.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, even they did the Korg and Deadpool thing. Those
Yeah,
two
that's
are friends
true.
in real life. Like,
That's true.
you needed somebody for this role, and it
That's
just felt
fair.
like this is a guy who works for Disney, Marvel.
Yeah.
Let's just bring him on and like
Yeah.
have this role.
Yeah. And Taika,
Yeah.
real quick, if you are looking to start up another thruple squad,
No, what the
you can
fuck? Are
find
you
you know
about
how
to
to
sign us on to something?
you know
Wait,
how to
hang
get
on.
in touch
Right.
with me. I don't want to sign Brian or Marcus up for this at all. But if you need, a third or someone to change out
Does
towels,
Brittany know you're doing
just
this?
give me
Yeah,
a
I was
call.
gonna say.
I mean, I'm not doing anything illicit. I'm just offering
Do you
help
know what
from a
happens in
man.
a throuple?
I'm not worried about it. I'll figure it out
Yeah,
along the
okay.
way.
Yeah,
I
all
just
right.
want to I want us to make a series of shirts that says I'm a part of Taika's thruple squad, like a thruple squad shirt. And so I
You
just
can do
wanted him to
that.
know that we're putting those out, and he's more than
Actually,
welcome.
if
Come on
all
over.
three of us joined his throuple, at that point it's an orgy.
No, there's a quad thing happening.
Is there a quad thing
Well,
before? How many is it? How many is it before we get to an orgy?
quadruple?
I don't know.
A
I'm just
quadruple?
saying 4 is quad, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Sign up for the Patreon as we figure this out together.
Yeah, sign up for the Patreon to get early access to I'm a thruple member with a picture of Taika Watiti on it.
Jesus.
Yep,
Man.
there you go. Gentlemen, what are some other things about this particular movie that you all enjoyed or didn't enjoy? Just any final thoughts that you might have?
I think it's if I have to make a decision, let me say this first. I think that I have found the first movie I would have rather streamed at home. I think
Let's
that
do
I
this.
would have I think that I
Yes.
would have enjoyed this movie in the presence of my own crib.
Yes.
I think going to the movies and investing this time into it, I just being home, I would have been able to pause it, kind of like take it in at my own pace and enjoy Ryan Reynolds as much as I would like to. In a theater, you're kind of constricted. Like, it's like you paid money, you don't really move, nobody really talks or anything like that.
Yeah.
At home, I could point out shit that I see, like, oh, what video game is that from? Well, let me pause and like see some of the references. I can look on my phone, and like, I do think that I found the first movie that I would have rather streamed at home. And that's just kind of where I am. It's not a bad movie. It's as my friend Z would say, not bad, not great. So like it's not a bad movie. In fact, I think that I would watch it. I'd watch it again. Like I would watch Ready Player One and Space Jam to kind of see the shit that I missed. And I love Ryan Reynolds, but I rather would have streamed this at home.
Okay, fair. In case anybody's curious, a quad is a relationship involving 4 people.
There it is.
A common example is when 2 polyamorous couples meet and each person begins dating one person from the other couple.
Okay.
There is also something called a full quad, which is
that a
full
workout?
quad consists of 4 people with each romantically or sexually involved with every other member. So there you go.
Nice.
That's what's one
Okay.
more than a throuple. Brian, what
Okay.
were your thoughts on the movie?
Wow, what
I
a
still-
thank
I
you
still
for
want-
that.
I could pivot. I could pivot. I could pivot
dog.
all over this
I
shit.
still want answers to how many does it take to get an orgy?
Here's the thing. I agree with Marcus. I'll be totally honest. I'm gonna be candid here. I love theaters. I also think we need to find a way to support theaters that need it and also get a streaming option, because
Yes.
this movie, if I was not on this podcast, I would have not seen this in a theater
That's fair.
at all. I did it because I enjoy doing the podcast, and I did want to see it. Did I want to see it in a theater? Not necessarily.
Mhm.
And I feel like, and like I had a commitment to a podcast. So if that's my mindset, how are other people feeling about this? And I feel like that's reflective in the 28 million opening for a movie that's an original IP. It's not based on anything, on a ride. It's not a sequel. It's not in a universe, and it's 28 million. And that is that really worth it to like, I guess I'm just talking to studios now. Like, is that worth it? Because it's
don't know.
not to me. Like, you could put this on streaming and get 70% of the revenue instead of splitting it with theaters at this point. And so I don't know what the right answer is, but what I do know is that I went to the theater and I was like, I would like to be at home to watch this one.
Mm,
And I know
Yeah.
that comment now makes it seem like we're trending towards this future where like we're going to the Disneyplex to only see the sequels and universe movies, and everything is relegated to streaming. And that's a
Right.
different conversation we can have. But Marcus, I absolutely feel the same way. I didn't really
you.
feel theater for this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with the both of you. I think that this is I would have rather seen this at home. It would have been easier. It probably and again to Marcus's point, I think this would have been more enjoyable to be able to start and stop and kind
Yeah.
of be able to track some of these deeper
Mhm.
things
Yeah.
than anything else. So and much like Brian said, I saw it. I'm excited that I'm glad I saw it. Like I don't regret anything. And
Oh no.
Mhm.
it was fun. It was, I mean, certainly like we're talking about it, so it was entertaining.
Right.
But it was one of those moments where like it's just kind of like, oh, okay, so this is a thing. Like, and I'll
Well,
also put it this way, Brian. If I had seen it by itself, I probably wouldn't have enjoyed it. But the fact that I was there with Marcus and he and I could
sure.
turn to each other and be like, "The fuck is going on?" Like,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
made it like
Yeah.
this is a movie that I feel like I could watch at home with a
Yeah.
group of friends and have a beer or
Yeah.
margarita, and
And
enjoy
fajitas.
and a fajita and enjoy my life. But yeah, so I think it's good. I think a lot of the acting in it is really well done, but overall, I think this would have been more enjoyable at
Well,
home.
and I feel like we also need to put in here is that Ryan Reynolds was out there promoting this like it's only in theaters.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
Disney is definitely trying to figure out what they can get in the theater and what can go to streaming. And I'm just going to say, I don't think 28 million is going to move the marker for you. I know they're going to look at like the drop off to next weekend, but I don't see it. I don't see how we can only do only theater releases at
No,
this
hell
point.
no.
I
My
just don't see it.
my
Well,
thing is, I think that. Oh well, go ahead, Doug. Sorry.
I mean, all I was gonna say is, I think if you're eventually gonna move to a model like we're seeing, where it's like it's in a theater and then 45 days later you can rent it at home
Yeah.
or purchase it or what have you, I'm fine with that. But I do think then someone's gonna have to figure out how to track this fucking
Mhm.
information better,
Yeah.
because there
Okay.
is
Yeah.
no way,
Yeah.
and we've talked about this before on this podcast. I mean, there's no way you should be counting like seconds that somebody was watching something, because I don't have a calculator to do that math.
Right.
And two, there's no reason why you can't understand how much it made. Like
Well,
you're either
Well,
overcomplicating it, or there's something you're missing, because it's how many purchases did you have? Like that's all you really need to know, I feel like.
yeah. I feel like Ryan Reynolds. His concern is being able to sell an original IP just
Right.
based off that tweet. His thing
Yes.
is not it. I don't, and what really sold this movie, I think, for a lot of people is the story.
Mhm.
I think it's
Yeah.
the story. You've never heard anything like this before.
Yeah.
People we live in the age of video games and the age of technology and stuff like that, right? So Ryan Reynolds' concern is, I want to be able to sell to Disney and sell this original IP. It made the money it was supposed to.
Yep.
I could give a fuck about what happens next. Ryan Reynolds wants to make a good family. I think that's his thing. Deadpool, he wants to make movies that are fun to him. I
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
don't think he's in it for like winning awards and shit like
No.
that.
No.
He really just wants to make, which I commend you.
Yeah, no
All
kidding.
award chasing and shit like that. I don't really give a fuck about awards. If you care about a role enough to invest into it, like he's doing with Deadpool, he carries a fucking suit around. Free Guy, he really invested into this, and he can market the shit out of everything, right?
Oh, I feel like him and The Rock, if they're ever headlining a movie together, is
It'll
gonna be
sell.
everywhere.
It'll sell because
Yeah.
those two fuckers are just good at what they do, right? And I think that the idea of this movie, because in the trailers they didn't give you a lot of information. They said this guy likes this girl and he's willing to do whatever, and he's going to be stupid. He's going to go goo goo gaga for her, and that's fine. And everybody sold that. When you get into the theater, though, there are things that you can. Excuse me. There are things that you can fix in order to really take this movie, and it's the idea of this movie, to the next level. There's some things you can get rid of. There's some things that you can add. And to make it a better movie. And that's what I want. I like the movie.
Right.
I liked it. I enjoyed it for what it is. But I would have enjoyed it a lot better and would have received it a lot better in the comfort of my own home. And y'all just need to figure out a way to give me an option and figure out a way to count the shits. Like, if we are living in this era, y'all did this shit. We got rid of cable. Like, we didn't ask y'all to do this. Y'all did it. Y'all came out with 15 million streaming services and didn't offer a way to properly calculate who's winning. This is why nobody wants to go to streaming. It's part of the reason I believe Scarlett Johansson is pissed the fuck off, because all those streaming numbers are missed opportunities to make some fucking guala.
Well, not even that. It's career security.
Yeah.
Right? Like, the likelihood that you get cast in the next big budget movie based on how you did in the last one, like, that matters. And if you can't accurately report that, you're basically saying, like, well, your ability to judge whether or not this person sells well, because let's be honest, that's what box office numbers are reporting. It's not reporting how good a movie is. It's how well did those actors or actresses sell to a large audience. How much am I willing to pay to go watch Dwayne The Rock Johnson and Emily Blunt at a theater ride down a riverboat in the Amazon? I'm willing to pay $12 plus $8 for popcorn. How much money am I willing to spend for Free Guy? Like, it's that type of stuff.
It's a movie going experience.
And I feel like there's a lot of folks on Twitter too who are like, oh man, it made 28 million. That smashes the Suicide Squad. It's like, you're comparing apples to oranges here, folks. Like, you do not sound as smart as you think you do, because the Suicide Squad is on a service that gets $15 a month from all of their subscribers, which last I checked was like in the millions. So how do you even how do you square that circle of what did better than another? Like, it's very hard for me to even get to that point of, like, and I agree. We need a way to actually count this. And
Disney, you need a lower tiers, because that's $30 for a movie getting released on your shit, and that's the only option, is not going to cut it.
Well,
like, if you had Free Guy that was available on Disney Plus for $10, $12, that would be something that you would have more people willing to pay. Like, I'm not paying $30 to watch Free Guy. I'm sorry. But if you're telling me, hey, $12 to $15, you may not be able to keep it, but you'll unlock it for a week and it'll lock back up.
I guess I'd be curious what the River Cruise, Jungle Cruise. Thank you. I'd be curious to see what the numbers were for Jungle Cruise, to see if people paid it for because that, I think that and Raya and the Last Dragon are like original things that were on that service. I think everything else was a Soul. I take it back. No, Soul just went direct.
Didn't have a pay window.
Soul didn't have a pay. It didn't have a paywall.
And neither did Luca.
And people were pissed because Luca did not have a paywall, and it didn't go to the theaters.
And gun to my head, Soul is deeply the people who did Soul should be absolutely fucking furious, because that is a quality movie that plucks at just about every heartstring and gets me close to like that existential moment at the end is huge. And to do it in a kids movie in a way in which it's easy to understand and try and comprehend is just again,
y'all got to do better.
They're gonna have to figure out, like you said, Brian, they're gonna have to figure out how do you do this, because I think even when, and I'm saying this with every amount of heart and hope in my voice, even when we don't have to be scared to go back to a theater, people are still going to want to stay at home. There are still going to be people who want the option to stay at home and watch the movie.
Because people have set their shit up. You come to my crib. If anybody comes to my fucking house, I have Govee lights. I have a whole mood set. I set this motherfucker off.
Fucking thing.
And people did that because we had to stay home for 18 months.
So
and
now
I got a quality sound bar. Like you got the lights.
We set up our own theater and made it comfortable and was like, wait a minute. Yeah. I could do this shit from my house.
Yes.
So then it depends on the movie. Black Widow had to be experienced in the theater. I wouldn't have enjoyed it at home.
I agree.
If Free Guy had to be experienced at home, and I would not have enjoyed it in the theater. I'm sorry. It was great. But if there were the graphics and the sound effects didn't offer me anything to be like, well, what am I really here for besides the big ass screen and the movie going experience?
Well, and I think the other thing too here is that people paid the $30, like myself included, for some of those Disney movies. So they know people will do this.
Do it.
But to your point, Marcus, what is the point of like the price differential? Like, okay, if we did $20, we're gonna make more money than splitting it with theaters. That has to be the calculation happening right now. And like, not to get too in the weeds here, but I think we're gonna see some movement here in September. Like, I think there's gonna be stuff either going both theater and streaming, or
it's gonna get worse.
We're gonna see stuff pushed. That's already happened with Venom. And I'm just, I feel like that's the break point, is like beginning of September, where you'll see all these announcements.
I think that's why Spider-Man 3, this is just my own kind of, I'm going crazy, but I think that's why Spider-Man 3 keeps getting pushed back and you're not hearing anything yet, because Disney is fucking terrified that the Delta variant is getting worse.
Well,
it's getting worse, and they're going to have to do what they did with Black Widow and going to keep pushing Spider-Man back, or they're going to have to release solely on Disney Plus. And they don't want to do that. They cannot do it.
And I will say this. I think for larger corporations like Disney and like Sony and like others, the pandemic hurt worse than they thought it was.
Hell yeah.
And I say that because if you look at prices, and again, I'm living in a Disney world because we are still, as of right now, planning a trip in January. We are seeing prices for things that were normally over time like go out to like exorbitant amounts just to participate in those experiences at their theme park stuff. So I think there's a lot of like inflationary where we are now. We're paying for January of this year. We're paying for it now because they're trying to make up for what they did back then. And I think eventually it will come back down again and level out when they feel like they've made it back up. But I think that we talked a lot. As a country, we talked a lot about the supply chain being impacted and things being more expensive than they are. I think we are now starting to see our entertainment take some of that same price tag inflationary increase as well.
And for any folks that follow Disney, exactly what Doug said. I mean, there's stuff. So they do a Christmas show. They've reduced the number of dates. And they've raised the prices. They're getting rid of fast passes. I don't know if anyone's pricing for the Star Wars, but it's basically $2,500 a person for 2 nights. Yeah. So the proof is in the pudding. They're trying to squeeze folks right now to make up for those losses. I agree.
That Christmas thing, like I saw that like how the prices have raised over the course of the past like 5 years. That like after hours Christmas thing used to be like, it was an additional $100. And when you go to Disney, you plan on spending a little bit more anyway, but now it's $250 per person.
What average family can afford that? That's, I guess, my question.
Exactly.
I don't think that's my family.
No,
right
it's
now.
Absolutely not my family.
I tell you that.
And so that's where like I kind of look at that and say like those people who are going to buy that are paying for the fact that they couldn't do one last year. They're paying it's the tax. We're paying a COVID tax on everything now because that's where we are. And I'm not saying that's like, we shouldn't have been closed or anything like that. I just think it's the reality of it, like with our entertainment.
Somebody's got to, the shit rolls downhill. Somebody's got to pay eventually. Like, and this is what it is. Like,
my mom used to always say, you can either pay me now or pay me later, but either way, you
won't pay me. Yeah.
Right. And so I think we're just paying them later. And that's just kind of the unfortunate nature of it.
One thing I know we're closing up and we're getting in the weeds, but I just want to say The biggest moment in my theater was seeing Chris Evans on screen,
Yeah,
followed by
that
me
was a good moment.
flipping out about a lightsaber in this movie. Did you
Yeah.
get the same reaction in your theater?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
we did. Yeah.
yeah.
And it
That's
was a fun
amazing.
moment. Yeah, I thought it was fun. I especially liked Chris Evans because the last time we saw him was Captain America, so I did appreciate the whole
Yeah.
him being, what the shit? Like I thought that was a genuinely good
I
moment.
think that Disney knows Disney is Disney, right? So it's
Right.
like it knows we own these properties, right? Of course we're
Mhm.
gonna drop it in the movie, and it's like Chris Evans experiencing Disney do this shit and like without permission, like without whatever, and they're just like, wait a minute, nobody called me, nobody did anything, you know what I mean? Like that was just a cool moment
Well,
to
yeah.
see.
And Ryan Reynolds can get these people. Brad Pitt was the
sure.
Vanisher. He was in and out in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Apparently the same thing for
Yeah.
Chris Evans. He shot his cameo in under 10 minutes and was
Yeah.
out the door.
He
So
could, yeah, that makes
really
sense.
fun to see that.
For sure. Well, maybe wait for this one to go to a streaming service is generally the consensus I'm getting everybody from here.
In the last
Yeah,
30
you can
minutes.
wait. That's
But
fine.
it's fun. Like it's
A red
definitely
box
worth
is
a
still a
watch.
thing.
Yeah, exactly. If you get it on
Right.
you can get it on a red box, or maybe at your local Blockbuster. Maybe those are the ways in which you
Jesus.
get this. But gentlemen, what do you all have to plug this week? And I'm going to start with one Marcus J. Destin. Marcus, what do you have to plug this week?
What up? Nothing much to promote. You know what I mean? The only thing I can promote is follow the mantra. Never offended, always humble. That is the mantra. Things are getting busy, you know what I mean? And you just have to follow the mantra. I'm telling you, it's the best way for you to make it through your day. It's the only thing that matters. So follow the mantra, remain never offended, always humble. And what that really means is, y'all, it means being humble enough to take critiques and also knowing that nobody is too big. Okay. You got to be humble. Be humble in your wins. You got to be able to grow through the turmoil. Never offended, always humble.
Fantastic. Brian, what do you have to plug this week?
Hello, everybody. I'm here to plug the Love Nerds. Make sure to go check out that site for all of your lifestyle blog needs. The fall is coming, and you're probably thinking, "Man, I need a costume or something." I don't know, but there's a ton of themed Halloween stuff that you can get there. You can go to the Etsy shop; that's also on there. Definitely recommend it. Go check it out. TheLoveNerds.com. Also, I'm going to plug my TikTok, Rogue Roush on TikTok. I answered a question for Doug about a particular spaceship regarding Star Wars Episode 2 Attack of the Clones. So you want to learn more about the Solar Sailor, go check out my TikTok account. Talk about Count Dooku. It's a good time. It's a good time. Oh,
the 3 Tower.
Doug, what about you?
What I have to plug is this podcast. We enjoy going to these movies that should be watched at home.
But we
in the
shouldn't be
theater.
paying for it. Help us.
Well, we do it for you, so help us pay for it by joining our Patreon. We got a whole different options tiers wise. You get access to watch this live stream, which is really great. Come grow with us as we continue to grow and develop. And also remember that as a Patreon member, you get to decide what one movie a month, like what we get to watch. So do you want us to watch Super Mario Brothers? You go ahead.
Pay for it. Get it on the Patreon. We'll do it.
But you got to join that Patreon.
We'll do it. We need to watch it so we can see Yoshi.
Yeah, I so badly want to watch this just
And
so
King
Marcus.
Koopa.
I almost want to invite Marcus to my home if we have to watch this because I want to watch his face in real time.
I've never seen it and I don't want to watch it.
That's fair, but
you should
seriously, Patty Family. Maybe that's the one you picked this month.
Do it.
Gentlemen, we have a 3-step key to success here at this particular podcast. And Brian, what is the first key?
Do it.
The first key.
No.
The first key is Emperor Palpatine impressions. Welcome to the Emperor Palpatine Impressions podcast. No, but read a book. Read a book, please. For the love of Pete, read a book. Again, we talked about how some of us are in education. It's busy time. If you're busy and you're using that as an excuse not to read, just don't. So get Audible, get whatever audiobook service you can get and just listen to a book, even if it's only for like 20 minutes, 10 minutes a day.
True.
I guarantee you your life will be better. You're going to get your brain on a different track. You can learn about something. Your life will be better for it. Please read a book.
Read a book. Marcus, we have a second key to success. Marcus, what is that second key?
The second key to success is drink some goddamn water. Listen, you gotta drink that water. That's very that's very important. You know what I mean? It's good for the skin, good for hydration. As the heat decreases and the cooler breeze comes in, there's a relation between water, your water intake, and the smells you emit. Okay, you are what you drink. So if all you drinking is soda, and that's all you drinking, then your piss is electrified, and I'm pretty sure that that's not hydration, and you need to be hydrated. Okay, so just drink some goddamn water.
Nobody wants to be a butterscotch soda, so don't become one. Drink some water.
It's fine, whatever. That's fine.
The third step to success is just
First of all, I deserve that goddamn
wash
point.
your ass. Just to wash your ass. Whatever. Look, y'all, everybody's going to be returning to school, or we're going to get into the fall. Do not bring summer with you into fall.
Please.
Do not bring your summer stench with you as you start the new school year, whether as a student or whether as a teacher, and just wash your ass. Get some soap, get a loofah, get a washcloth, whatever it is, and just get up there and scrub and get everything nice and cleaned out, so that way you can be re-entered into society in the best way possible.
And stop trying to just put cologne over the stench. Stop trying to put Axe over it and trying to Febreze yourself down. That stuff only lasts so long.
No.
Shit smells like shit even when you wrap it in a bow, if you didn't know.
Yeah, I mean, and it's gonna become a snowball of Axe, like dirt, mud, and your ass, and it's just not worth it. So just walk away. Just walk away from that. Don't do that at all. Gentlemen, this has been our week's podcast. We thank all of you for joining us this week. We will be back next week with a news episode, which we haven't given y'all in a little while.
We're gonna get your gators on because we're going in the weeds.
Oh yeah,
or your waders, not your gators.
Also,
I'm tired.
I want to know what fucking gators are. So you heard it here. Get your gators because we're going into the weeds, everybody.
We're in Florida. We're going get your gators.
We'll be back next week with a news episode. But in the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy.
And
we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. And get your gators on. Peace.
Go Gators.